Nathan, how's your squad looking this week?
Yeah, strong. Got a full one to sort of choose from. A few have had 90 minutes on Tuesday as well, which means we're up to speed with pretty much everyone. So it's good, looking good.
How did you go into this game? Are you going to treat it as a normal league game?
Of course, it's obviously what we treat it as is a normal cup game that we're desperate to win. We'll the FA Cup is probably one of the biggest domestic cup competitions in the world, and we want to do well. We know the rewards, both sort of financial and also sort of confidence-wise, that doing well in this competition does. And as I said, we want to go as far as we possibly can. So that starts on Saturday. Is
it an opportunity to rotate a bit more than maybe you normally do?
No, not at all. We're not going to. Look, we've not so much rotated. We've picked sort of sides that making sure that everyone's up to speed, and we are now. But there'll be sort of less of that coming up now. I'll be picking sides to win games constantly, and because there's enough games and everyone's sort of up to speed, and it's the second half of the season now where we're approaching the second half of the season where we believe we'll be strong because of what we did in the first half.
You'll be big favourites to win this game against the team in the division below?
Well, you'll start favourites, but that's out the window. As I said, the romance of the cup and how it is, and I've obviously watched them play about 5 or 6 times since obviously the draw. I got to see them live against Yeovil and in the replay, so I know what's either side. They've got a new manager, they've got some dangerous players, so it'll be a real stern test, and as I said, we know that, and I don't think anyone takes anyone lightly anyway. You'd be foolish, but it's a game we want to win.
Having watched them, and you've obviously watched plenty of National League football, do you think there's much of a difference between the two divisions?
It's an interesting one. I think very rarely do the ones that come up struggle. So I think it's a good sort of breeding ground to prepare you for league football. And I said I think there's a lot of, it is a big difference in some of the sides from the top to the bottom ones. For example, some of the top ones have got bigger budgets than League Two sides, and people drop down from League Two to go into the thing. So no, into the National League. So I think it's a real good standard there. Plus there's a real sort of energy and a work rate about them that they want to do well. I played a season myself there before I came to Luton actually, and it was a real good breeding ground for me and taught me a lot. So these are to be a dangerous side, and we'll have to be aware of that.
And they've got a striker who scored quite a few goals up front as well.
Yeah, if you're talking about Asante, then he has, but we've got a couple of those as well. So we'll concentrate on us and make sure that we're at it, and if we're at it, then as I said, it normally takes a very, very good side to beat us.
It's a big day for them. I know they're in the National League, but they're a smallish, I'd say, National League team. They're going to bring about 600 odd, so they'll treat it as a proper day out.
Well, of course. I mean, 600 odd is a lot more than a lot of League Two sides bring. But what I don't want to do is comment on those or anything, because it's, as far as I'm concerned, I can only prepare my team to win a game, and that's what we'll be trying to do. So I'm sure they'll be wary of us and the threats we pose, and hopefully we can come through it on the day.
You played Ollie Lee a bit further forward last game. Did you think that worked?
I didn't think it worked on the day. It was a structural thing that we did because he's a wonderful footballer, and if you get him on the ball, sort of in those gaps. Ironically, I've just spoken to him about it actually, because normally sides put when he plays defensive midfield, normally someone put a number 10 on him, but they didn't play with the 10 the other day. They played with a defensive midfield player, so he moved into a number 10, and he then had a defensive midfield player marking him. So wherever he goes, he seems to be kind of man marked. No, look, we know what it is, and it's a calculated little gamble, in terms of moving him a little bit further forward, because when in training, when he gets in around the box, he's deadly and he's a wonderful technician. So we just thought we could do that, and we felt we needed to freshen it up, because sort of Alex had sort of played 2 games and was looking a bit jaded, especially for a young lad. So it was just that really. But whether it worked or not is another thing. We didn't get beaten, so that was one positive.
You still see him as a defensive midfielder, though?
Of course, yeah. He's a midfield player. He's a central midfield player, and with the ability, the way we play, he suits our shape. I think very much so in the defensive role. But any time, as you saw last season, any time he sort of can get in around that box, he usually hits the target, scores goals. When he does score one, they're spectacular. So it was just about thinking about getting him further up the pitch.
That midfield four's quite fascinating as to who gets the spots, isn't it? Because it switches around quite a lot.
Yeah, and as I said, we've got a lot of the margins between now 6 or 7 that we've got in those attacking midfield spots is so tight, and it's probably my biggest decision week in, week out, in terms of who to play in those, who's maybe sharp to train, who better suited for that kind of game, and so on. And I said it's great to have those headaches, but as I said, it is a headache week in, week out, and we have a great variation in that, and I said we're pleased with that.
All right, thank you.
How did Scott Cuthbert came back into the side and gave a real captain's performance on Saturday, didn't he?
Yeah, well, as I said, I think defensively we've been very sound. We've got the best defensive record in the league, and he's a big part of that. But the team are a big part of that. How they work, how they graft. They're a wonderful group. I said we've had 2 celebrities watching training today in terms of. And the biggest thing they said about you didn't have to do much to get them going, and that's the group they are. They want to defend, they want to work hard, they want to do well, and that's the group I want, and I'm delighted to have that.
I mean, there's obviously Sammy Hipper, I think, and Matthew Upson. I mean, just how good is it to have people like that come into training and just have a look at how it's all going?
Yeah, I'm quite flattered they want to come in and watch us work, But obviously, I worked with Matty at Brighton, and I had a close relationship with him in terms of coach and player, and we talked a lot about football and how I could help him, and did a lot of work with him. And he was a consummate professional and a wonderful player that you kind of won in your side. And then Sammy, obviously I was Sammy's assistant at Brighton, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he's over I think sort of visiting Arsene Wenger and stuff, and he decided to come and watch the mighty Luton as well. So he's had a bit of Arsenal, he's had a bit of Luton, and hopefully we compare favourably.
You've had a chat with the players, or are they just in a watching brief at all, or have they?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Sammy is he's obviously Matty's come in and he knows 1 or 2 anyway, especially the ones he played with at Brighton. But Sammy's a real personable guy, and I said that's one of the things I learned from him as a manager. And he'd go around and he speaks to everyone, and he has a bit of time for everyone. It's brilliant. I didn't have to put him in front of people and to say, "Hi, I'm Sammy Hippier, I'm Finnish." And I said Finnish, not finished. and I said no, he's a real good guy, a real humble person, and top man, and a good friend of mine. That's why he's over.
I guess the players mean he's obviously a Liverpool legend, has played so many games, and they can pick up little bits, even if it's just in a chat, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to find him a place in our team, but I'd definitely have a go at that. No, like a wonderful player, and he's still got it now. We still have staff football at Brighton, and you could tell that he was the top end player, even then, and still feisty and very competitive.
On Saturday, do you think it might be a case of having to be patient at times? Because I mean, they're bound to be fighting tooth and nail, aren't they? So on the day,
we might have to be, but as I said, we've had to be patient in league games. We've had a good variation in our league games, and sides come in there. I have no idea how they're going to set up. I know how they've set up in probably the last 8 games because I've watched 5 of them, and my other staff have watched the other 3. So I know what how they normally set up. Whether they go that way with us, I don't know. But as I said, you can't second guess it. What we have to do is make sure we're ready, and if we put in a performance, as I keep saying, it takes some side to beat us.
You've come up against them on the opposition quite a lot during your playing days. How did you find cup ties like that?
I enjoyed them. I loved the FA Cup. I really loved the FA Cup, and as I said, I remember when I was at Brighton, we played Aldershot. We drew them and won comfortably on the day, but we had a good side at Brighton and we did it right. I scored for Southend versus Woking. So we went to Woking in pre-season. It's good memories. Last time I went back, and things. So I got good memories. Plus, I was a non-league player with Merthyr, and we drew Leyton Orient and should have beaten them really, but we didn't. So I've been on both sides of it, and it'd be a good tie. It'd be a real good tie, and one we're pleased. It's a romance of the cup because Luton got a good cup record in FA Cup and it was the JPT I think then, and also the Littlewoods Cup when it was before. So we've got a good pedigree, and it's a great game, and one we're looking forward to. And he said it's a little bit of a respite from league, so you won't be looking at the league and thinking, right, okay, have we made ground on people today or anything. It's a little bit more, and it's a winner takes all game.
Is it fair to say this tie's got a bit more romance to it than with respect that extra game?
Of course, because it's like another league game, and said especially then 2 weeks later we go back down there and so on. It was it lacked a bit of romance, that game, whereas this one definitely has. There's a possibility of a so-called upset and stuff, but there's also a possibility of either side going through to third round and getting a big draw or getting another favourable draw or home draw or whatever it is. So it's a great cup competition. It's beautiful, and to be fair, it's one of the best rounds, the second round, because there's so much at stake. No one knows what's at stake, but it's just like it could be that pot of gold, it could be that run, it could be something. So the second round is as good a round as it is, and really in terms of desire and wanting to do well, it's as good as the semi, really.
Yeah, that'll make any team talks. You have to make it easy, doesn't it? Having that potential reward at the end of it.
Well, the team talk will remain the same, and again, it's not cliche. It'll remain the same. It's a game we want to win, and as I said, all I'm concerned about is making sure that we turn up and we are like we normally are. Because I said if we're right at it, then it will take some side to beat us.
Would you be tempted to rest Danny, just in terms of picking up a potential booking and missing the league game, or is that not even coming to your thoughts?
Well, he's got two. He's actually got two to think. I'm not sure I could rest him. I could drop him after his performance today in training, but I'm not sure that I can rest him. As I said, we've come to a stage now where we think we haven't had to really push our players to do 2 games a week, bang bang. It's not been relentless for us because we've got a squad that could handle it. We've rotated in the important positions, the wider diamond ones. Then also we've been able to play a completely different side in the EFL Trophy. So we're in a good place. We're fully fit. We're ready. We're sharp. So it's about me picking a side to win a game, not thinking can I rest a couple, can he? We're all at it and we're ready to go. Plus it's a week before the next cup game, next league game, and we have the squad to manage both the games coming up.